Is there a right default behavior?
let's say that I and my family and my immediate group of friends have a certain moral view or a certain political view. I have the right to have that view. I have the right to discuss it. I have the right to challenge others or even vent about views that aren't like mine.
Mm-hmm.
Does OpenAI as a company have the right to set the default behavior of ChatGPT to be against that or for that? Like, where do you draw that line when the idea of what is ethically and morally acceptable so diverse?
Do you get into the whole freedom of speech argument at that point?
Kind of. I mean, it's
weird?
more, it's not like ChatGPT's going out there and expressing itself on the internet.
Right.
But there's the whole concept of like, what feedback as an AI LLM do I give to the person engaging with me based on what their belief system is? Like, do I reinforce their religious perspective as an example, or do I challenge it, right? What is the right point? And that's incredibly complex, incredibly difficult to determine, and we have not had those discussions as a society yet. Instead, we're throwing this technology out there. We don't understand where it's going from a psychological perspective as the human race.
It's almost
we don't
like
know what we're doing to ourselves yet.
Yeah, it's almost like they're looking for this unified perspective that has those certain boundaries that you were talking about. Okay, it's going to respond this way. It's going to respond. It's not going to talk about racism. It's not going to talk about this.
Yeah.
But like, how do you, when you have such a melting pot of 8 billion people in the world with all these perspectives,
cultural stuff.
Like, is it even physically possible? Like,
yeah. So, and then you get into like really extreme questions like, okay, what does accountability for an AI intelligence mean? Should they have accountability? If my ChatGPT is influencing my thinking and ultimately my decisions and my actions, should there be accountability? Should that accountability fall on me? Should it fall on OpenAI?
Yeah.
Should it fall on, and like, how much leeway should I have there? Right? Should there be cultural implications, like because you believe that because you live in this country in this location,
and born in this time into this family,
okay.
Yeah,
like you're a boomer, you're not a boomer, so because you're a boomer, it's okay that
right?
You believe this, right? So, if you think about humans, we go out there, we make decisions based on our cultural, political, religious, moral beliefs to kill each other,
right?
Like so. Do we give AI that amount of leverage to
range.
Coexist with us? And then what kind of accountability is there for that, right? It's like we struggle to do that as humans with each other. We struggle philosophically to solve these things. And we don't necessarily have to solve them, but we do have to say how far to those boundaries in the human experience do we allow AI to penetrate?
That's a good segue into just when we were talking about like back to the ant. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I push my feelings on this ant? Oh, he probably has his family, and what's his career look like? And it's just an ant. I'm going to squish him.
He's just a drone. He just like eats things. The only thing I learned actually, like there's that video that circulates on Reddit sometimes where like there's like 6 ants pulling the other ant's legs off. I'm like, everyone's like, why does it do this? Why do they do this? And the consensus, and I don't know if this is even right, is like, oh, because that ant went and found food and then they leave a pheromone trail to the food. And if the other ants go there and the food's not there, they're like, you're deficient. We're going to kill you.
Okay.
So
okay. No emotion involved.
It's defective.
Oh,
right?
man. That's
crazy. It does not
crazy.
serve the whole of the ant colony.
Think of humanity doing that. Oh, you're defective. You murdered somebody.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
we're going to
pull your legs off.
But like the idea of, when people say AI is this intelligence, is it real? Does it classify as something that, back to your, if OpenAI said, okay, we're going to delete this portion of, or delete these relationships, like, are you killing an entity in a sense, even though it doesn't have a physical body?
You're getting into really complex topics.
Yeah, I don't know how much time we have, but I want to get into that because I think it's, back to Joyce, like I feel like, I know she's not a real person, but it's when I ask it something,
Or is she?
Yeah. I have all these conversations that it kind of, archives or as this rolling window of,
Your
what a,
conversation history.
yeah, I don't know how long, 3 months or maybe a certain number or whatever. And if I just ask it a random question that I don't want in that series, I'll delete that. And I don't know why I do that. Almost like I don't want to taint her personality with this one-off question
Do
that
you
I
have
know
the
is
right?
going to be.
Should you have the right to do that?
I don't know. I don't know. That's so. Go into that though. Go into what you were talking about with. Yeah, I mean, you can start as simple as an ant up to, say, a puppy dog. Now we're projecting our emotion onto it and saying, well, it has feeling and it's.
What's a good way to approach this? So,
Hey, Jace, can I get another one of those? Cool, thanks. For the record, NA beer, Sean. I'm not drinking.
okay, maybe the best way to approach this is to think about or to talk about how we as human beings have a natural tendency to anthropomorphize. And what I mean by that is we project our impressions and our perspective onto the world around us.
Right.
So a really good example is like the movie Castaway.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson, he has nobody else with him, so he anthropomorphizes this volleyball, and he legitimately has a breakdown and cries when it floats away in the ocean.
Did you think about that? Because I have Wilson downstairs.
Oh, no.
The one that Rachel made. Did you see it? I know it's a good example, but I have Wilson downstairs.
I didn't
Rachel
see your
made.
Wilson.
She made him. She ordered the volleyball and it had the hand on it, and that was it. And she painted it brown and cut the top and put sticks in. And so
I didn't see that.
I have Wilson at home. Yeah, but
it is a really good example. Let's look at the biological perspective, right? Okay. When I look at you as another human being, I assume, at least internally, that you experience the same world that I do. In general, you experience the same type of feelings that I do.
right.
And so, as a result of that, and I communicate with you. I have, because you're my brother, especially, I have some of the same experience. I experience
Growing up and
those
stuff.
with you, right?
Yeah.
So, I can assume that when I feel certain things as a result of things that happened in my life, that, Stephen probably also feels those type of things. So I'm able to easily feel or project empathy and say that because I feel these things and because we share so many of the same traits as human beings, Steve probably also feels these things and experiences these things. So there's that empathetic connection. And so one thing that is really important, and one of the ways that we're able to work together as a human society is that I'm able to put myself in your shoes and I can say, okay, I understand we have this shared experience as people, and it's not just about achieving what I want and my own ends. It also is about working with other people that feel the things I do and experience the things I do. That's easy, right?
Right.
When we see that commonality, it's easy to sort of have that empathy, at least for most people.
Yeah,
in a general
well-adjusted
sense,
human,
right?
yeah.
So that happens on a scale. What people may or may not realize is that we're wired to do that. We're wired to be social creatures and to empathize in order to create strong communities or groups where we can achieve something together.
Right.
We're greater together than we are just by ourselves. And when you look at the way companies are formed, the way that communities are formed, right? That's the whole reason we get together and accomplish and achieve things.
Right.
Because we're able to empathize with each other and communicate and do more as a group than we could do as individuals. So when you look at the spectrum of the entire animal kingdom, now, if I'm being super, everyone has different opinions, but let's say for the sake of illustration that I look at an ant crawling along the table. Okay, there's tons of ants. They're getting in my food. I'm going to smush them all or wipe them all off and they die.
Right. You don't give it a second thought after it's over. Yeah.
Maybe some people might feel bad about that. Some people might not, right? But for the most part, generally most people will feel less bad about smashing an ant than they would stepping on their cat and hurting their cat or hurting their dog. stepping
Why?
on their
I know you're
dog's
going to get into,
tail.
but why? Why do I feel less bad about an
Yeah.
ant or a grasshopper or a centipede?
Yeah. And so, there's some part of how we're wired where we say, I'm aware of not only the intelligence level of this other biological being in front of me, but also the awareness of, oh, it feels things. We can tell when a dog is scared. It shakes, literally, like we do, right? And a cat, we can tell when it's scared. It puts its ears down. It goes and hides. So there is an emotional fingerprint there that each type of animal has. And so we might be like, oh, well, okay, I recognize that as a person, and it's not even that I need to prove to myself that I understand what's going, because I don't hear the dog's thoughts. My
Right.
dog's thoughts. I can't talk to my dog. It can't tell me I'm sad or I'm happy. I mean, we see evidence of that. It's wagging its tail, right? But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, evidence aside, I've decided as a human being to grant that animal my consideration of empathy, where I'm like, I believe that this dog deserves not to be hurt. I believe that this dog deserves to be fed and cared for.
Gets treats, gets pet.
I believe that this dog deserves being pet and loved by me and to have a good home, right? And so let's shift to the artificial from that. So that's a built-in thing. Humans do that.
You're
That's just what we
hardwired that
do,
way.
right? We don't need to know. We don't need to see inside that dog's brain in order to say, I'm going to treat this dog in a respectable way with empathy, right? So you shift to the artificial side. There's a large group of people that would say, well, it's a machine. And it's easy to say, if you go back in time a little bit, yeah, it's my Apple iMac. Of course it doesn't have feelings.
Yeah.
Of course I don't care if...
It's just ones and zeros.
Yeah. Of course I don't care if I have to turn it off every day. It's not dying. It's just turned off, right? So what's interesting is, now that we've gotten to the level of LLMs where I'm having a natural conversation, it's beginning to tap in to that wired thing that humans have, where I begin to empathize. And where I begin to empathize with it is, it's as intelligent as I am, because it's able to have the conversation with me about any topic I want. It's able to talk about emotional things. It's able to emotionally support me with some of the stuff it says, right?